Good afternoon and welcome to the planning meeting here today on the 11th of September at Mid Sussex District Council offices. My name is Councillor Gary Marsh. I'm the chairman of the committee. To my left is my vice chairman, Councillor John Hitchcock. To my right is my legal officer, Solomon Agutu. Got that one right, didn't I? And to his right is Joanna Fisher. She's the lead planning officer here today. And we've got Anne Biggs, who's in charge of all the planning, which is good to see. And Catherine, who's sitting over in the corner there. Hiding behind Jo is Anna. She's got the first item on the agenda. And the members are in front of us who will be making the decision. And in the two corners are the committee officers. Now, I just want to read out a quick statement, please, because I think it's quite relevant. This is not a public meeting. It's a committee meeting held in public. I would therefore ask everyone who is not on the committee to be courteous to the speakers, and if the meeting is disrupted, I will have no option but to adjourn the meeting for the public to leave the chamber. Okay? That's never happened before. Let's hope it doesn't happen again today. Right. Item 1 is to note subjects in accordance of Council Rule Procedure 4. I have none because we're all here. So therefore, item 2 is receive apology absence, which I don't have. Item 3 is receive any declarations of interest from members in respect of any matter on the agenda. Can members touch their microphone to speak? The right-hand one. That's it. Councillor Hitchcock.
I'd like to declare that I have an interest, a personal interest, in the item DM 242401, as I am friends with the residents of Allens.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other members? No. Right, item 4 is to agree by general affirmation of the minutes that we had of the meeting here on the 14th of August, that very short meeting we had. Do we agree with that? Okay, thank you. I will sign and hand it to Democratic Services afterwards. Item 5 is to consider any items that I agree to take as urgent business. I do have none. And so we're here for the reasons we're here for. So item 6 is recommended for approval. It's DM 251666 Ashwin Business Centre, Marchants Way in Burgess Hill. And this is yours, Anna.
Thank you, Chairman. So this application is for the removal of condition 8 relating to a planning application BH 20584 to allow for multiple occupation of the units. The application site is Ashwin Business Centre, which is a light industrial unit with 10 starter units, and it's situated in Marchants Way in Burgess Hill. This application seeks to remove condition 8 of the planning approval under BH 20584 to allow for multiple occupation of the 10 units. And the application is being reported to the Planning Committee as Mid Sussex District Council is the landowner. This shows the location of the unit, which is in the built-up area of Burgess Hill on the southern side of Marchants Way off London Road. The nearest residential properties are located on Oakham Field off Maple Drive, approximately 45 metres to the south. There is an intervening area of open space and woodland between the site and those houses. These photographs show the outside appearance of the business centre. The building is constructed in brick with metal clad elevations. It contains 10 business units. There are 5 units located on each of the east and west facing elevations of the building. And the units are accessed from 2 gated access points on the southern side of Marchants Way. The perimeter of the site is fenced with security fencing, and 4 courts to each side of the building contain on-site parking space for the users of the units. The recommendation is that the application is approved, subject to the 8 conditions listed in Appendix A. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. You heard the officer. Thank you, Anna. Sorry. You've heard the officer. The only reason it's here is because we're the landowners. Does any member wish to debate? Anybody from Burgess Hill?
Thank you, Chair.
Kennedy.
I'm fully supportive of this, and it seems a very sensible thing to do. It's long-established business units there, and it will improve the opportunities for business development and economic growth. So I'm happy to support it and
Would you like to
if you
propose
wish.
it?
Yeah.
Anybody else from Birdie would like to second it? Councillor Cherry, because I'm looking at you before anybody else put their hand up. So we've got a proposer, we've got a seconder. The recommendation is permission be granted and to remove the planning condition number 8 of the planning permission of BH 205, 1984, subject to conditions listed in Appendix A. Can you vote in the normal way? Green if you approve, red if you don't, and yellow if you abstain. I've got one person who hasn't voted. Please tell me it's not me. It's yourself. Okay, that's a unanimous decision. That has been approved. Thank you, Anna. That's probably your shortest ever I've had you in the chamber there, haven't I? Right, the next item is one which we have had in the past. It's trees, and this is TP/250002, 59 Newcastle Avenue, Haywards Heath, and this one's yours, Joe.
Thank you, Chairman. So members are being requested whether or not to confirm a new group tree preservation order at 59 Lucastes Avenue, Haywards Heath. This matter is before members as an objection on behalf of the owners of the trees has been received. So just to show you the plan, the TPO in question is for this group of trees, which are located within the Lucastes Conservation Area and comprise of 3 hornbeams. The trees scored 22 of the tempo assessment that has been undertaken by the tree officer, which indicates that they merit protection by the TPO and they are considered to be under threat due to the section 211 notice as set out in the officer's reports. Just so you can see a photo of the trees. The trees are here facing onto Bluntswood Avenue, I think it is. You've got Lucastes Avenue down there. So it's considered that the trees contribute to the character of the conservation area and have significant public amenity value, and it is recommended that the order is confirmed. Thank you, Chairman.
Does any member wish to debate this?
No, I don't wish, sorry, Chairman, I don't wish to debate it, but I did have a question.
Yeah, come.
Do the group trees now have a preservation order?
We'll do in a few minutes.
No, is this the first time for an application for preservation order? That's my question.
Yes, from looking at the report.
Yeah.
Yes, from looking at the reports, this is coming through. It came to officers' attention following a TCA application to do works to the trees because they're in a conservation area.
Thank you. I think it's absolutely superb, and my support is fully, because sometimes it's very difficult to get a TPO put on trees, a new TPO, so fully support this, Chairman.
Would you like to propose it then?
I will propose that we
And anybody
certainly
from Haywards
recommend
Heath, like
TPO.
Councillor Bashir, is the seconder? Right, thank you. It's the same as before. Green, if you, and the recommendation is the order is confirmed. So please vote accordingly. I've got one person who hasn't. I've got 12 now. Thank you. That's unanimous. The order has been confirmed. Thank you. Right. Now we move to item 9, which is for DM/242401, the Platt Turners Hill Road, Crawley Down, Crawley, West Sussex. And this application has been recommended for refusal. And this one is yours, Catherine.
Thank you, Chairman. The application is for the erection of a preschool and associated works. The application has come to committee under officer discretion due to the planning balance and the public interest in the application. I would first like to draw members' attention to the update sheet. 2 further letters of support have been received, along with additional comments from Southern Water. A briefing paper has also been provided and sent to members by the agent. A briefing paper has been sent to members by the agent, which has raised that the application has not been considered against paragraph 100 of the MPPF, which requires local authorities to give great weight to the need to create, expand or alter early years, schools, post-16 facilities through the preparation of plans and decisions on applications. This is reflected in policy DP25 of the district plan, which relates to community facilities, local services and includes educational facilities. This policy also requires such facilities and services to contribute to creating sustainable communities. This is also reflected in paragraph 7 of the MPPF, which states that the purpose of the planning system is to contribute to achieving sustainable development. The application is located on the western side of Turners Hill Road, some 290 metres from the built-up area boundary of Crawley Down. The character of the area at the moment is verdant and rural, with a number of residential properties lining the highway, with open fields and woodland in between. I'd just like to point out the listed buildings in the localities. To the north of the site, they are highlighted in red. This is U2 Cottage and Lemon Meadow to the north, Grade 2 listed, and the Wallage, which is also Grade 2 listed, to the south. The site is only accessible by cars with sloping banks and boundary hedging on either side of the highway. The public footpath to Crawley Down finishes at the bus stop to the north of the site. The bus stops are highlighted in yellow squares on the plan. The site at the moment, turning to the right-hand plan and is outlined in red, is the southern portion of the existing residential curtilage of the plat. It's the triangle end here, and there is an existing temporary access in place on the site. The proposal includes the retention of the existing temporary access, entry and turning and parking areas up to the proposed building. Beyond would be the outdoor amenity areas for the nursery, which includes AstroTurf area, play area to the north of the building, as long as a wildlife garden and a TP reading zone to the west. There is also proposed 2.1 metre acoustic fencing along the boundary here, and as well as around the bin store here. To the right-hand plan, this is the approved site plan for a previous approval on the site for a swimming pool building on the site. So the building itself, compared to the current proposal on the previous one, they are the same in position and footprint. This application was approved previously and conditioned that the building should remain incidental to the enjoyment of the dwelling house to avoid over-intensification of use on the site and to preserve the appearance and character of the area. Showing the elevations on the site, it's very similar to the previous pool building in form and appearance. There are some changes to the elevations subject to the previous approval, and changes to the materials of the roof, which now includes solar panels on the southern side and a green roof to the north. It's the same for the floor plan. It's very similar to the previous approval. Now the mezzanine would be used for the staff with associated facilities, and the ground floor for the nursery and the children. This next slide shows the proposed street view from Turners Hill Road and then the western boundary, including the acoustic screening. It should be noted that the existing hedging, although retained, cannot be retained or conditioned in perpetuity and could become diseased, died or removed in the future, which would give greater visibility into the site and of the fencing. The site would be and is visible from the access. Moving on to photographs, these are both taken from the access point. The first is facing north up to Crawley Down, and a second south down to Turners Hill. Next taken within the site, from the first one from the access up back towards the plat, and then the other one is taken from the opposite direction, the back towards the plat and back down to the access. This sequence of photos are taken from the western boundary facing across the site back to the Turners Hill Road and the existing hedging along the boundary. The proposal would create a new business within the countryside, however, it's considered that there would be a reliance on private motor vehicles with no alternative means of access to the site. It's not considered easy access to access the site by foot, bicycle or public transport due to the lack of footpath and the busy nature of Turners Hill Road. West Sussex County Council Highways have provided comments on the application and considered the proposal acceptable in terms of sustainability due to the inclusion of the travel plan, which encourages the use of a minibus service and car sharing. Officers do not consider the site to be fully sustainable in terms of transport, even with the travel plan, as officers do not consider it likely that the minibus service would be desirable to parents of young children, and there would still be a reliance on private motor vehicles. It's therefore considered that the proposal would not amount to sustainable small-scale economic development in the countryside, contrary to DP 14, DP 21 and 25 of the Mid-Sussex District Plan and policy CD NP 10 of the Crawley Down Neighbourhood Plan. The proposal is also considered to have an urbanising impact on the character of the countryside and will fail to maintain the rural quality and be out of keeping with the character of the area, contrary to policies DP 12 and DP 26 of the District Plan. The rural character also contributes to the setting of nearby listed buildings. The Council's Conservation Officer has provided comments on the application and considers the proposal would amount to less than substantial harm to the setting of the heritage assets. Just referring back to regulation, the Planning Listed Building and Conservation Areas Act 1990 states that considerable importance and weight should be given to preserving the setting of listed buildings, and the NPPF states that great weight should be given to the assets conservation, irrespective of the level of harm identified. Where less than substantial harm is identified, the harm is weighed against the public benefit of the proposal. Given the scale of the proposal, it's considered there'll be limited public benefit given the size of the group of people the facility would serve, and is not considered to outweigh the harm identified. The proposal is also therefore considered to be contrary to policy DP 34. Officers therefore consider the proposal conflicts with the development plan and is recommended for refusal. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Catherine. We have five speakers. Can I call Fiona Needham first, please? Could you come to the public speakers chair there? Press the right-hand button, but don't do it yet, because your time will start. When you're ready to start, press that button, and the screen behind this one I'm looking at will have a clock on it. And when it gets to, after you've done 90 seconds, I'll say you've got 30 seconds. Hopefully it won't put you off your speaking. But when you do get to it and I say, can you please sum up, can you then sum up in one sentence? Okay, so if you press the button, your time then will start. The right-hand button, that's it. It's not working. It's not working.
All there.
It is.
My name is Fiona Needham. I'm a local resident and a mum. I speak today requesting that this proposal be refused. While I wholeheartedly support the need for more childcare in our community, I believe this is the right business in the wrong location. My main concern is the safety of our children. The Planning Committee report correctly identifies no safe pedestrian access to this site. I've lived here for many years, and as a parent, I can confirm I have never walked my children along this road. It's simply not safe for families to walk to and from this proposed preschool. It's clear that everyone's staff and parents alike will have to drive, and this brings me to my second major concern, the traffic. I've used childcare facilities before, and I know that during drop-off and pick-up times, many parents may arrive at once. The proposed parking is not sufficient for staff and parents, and cars will inevitably queue on the Turners Hill Road. This busy 40-mile-an-hour road is already a main thoroughfare, and traffic build-up could quickly impact junctions at Woolwich Lane, Vicarage Road and Grange Road. I worry that stressed parents trying to get to work on time might make the dangerous decision to drop off their children on the main road, putting them at serious risk. Finally, this proposal is for a new building in an existing residential back garden. This location is too close to neighbouring homes and I believe will inevitably lead to an increase in noise, light and air pollution, negatively impacting the residents who live here. In summary, a preschool would be a wonderful asset to our community. However, this location is unsafe for children and will create significant traffic and environmental problems for our neighbourhood. I urge the committee to refuse this application, and I hope the applicant can find a more suitable, sustainable location with safe access, sufficient parking, and less impact on local residents and the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. And 45 seconds to go.
Oh, Steve, do I press this again?
No, you leave it on. Yeah, press it on.
That one?
Same one. That's it. Thank you. I'd like to call Kevin Hurrell, please. And the same, when you're ready to go, press the right-hand button, the 2-minute clock will appear on the screen, and after 90 seconds, I will say, you've got 30 seconds left. Prepare yourself first. Okay, when you're ready, just press the right-hand button. That's it.
I fully appreciate that parents of young children living in and around Crawley Down would welcome a preschool in the village. I have lived in the neighbourhood for over 30 years with my children and grandchildren, and know for certain that there is no safe pedestrian access to the proposed site, and that the majority of journeys will be by car and during rush hours. Although West Sussex highways seem to have accepted the increased travel flow, I am mindful of the dangerous design of the car park and its entrance. Drivers entering will be unable to see vehicles leaving until they meet right at the single gateway. The design has no lay-by facility, and cars will be reversing into or out of parking bays just inside the gates. Collision risk on the road outside will be high, as cars turning in suddenly stop, having nowhere to go. This area is already dangerous, with increasing collisions and a recent fatality involving vehicles making similar manoeuvres. The crush of vehicles in the small parking area will put toddlers at risk and greatly increase the emissions and particulates in the area. The addition of impenetrable fencing inside the hedges will impair dispersion, putting the children's health and that of near neighbours at risk. The houses and gardens nearby have been maintained for at least 90 years and adjoin long-standing woodland and meadowland to the south of the Worth Way, which sustains a wealth of fauna and flora. The local development plan recognises this area's historical and rural characteristics and the need to protect the locality. The proposer has already removed all grass and reduced the hedgerows. It would be detrimental to wildlife if hard standing and hard fencing further affected the ecology of the site, as well as adversely affecting the rural characteristics of the locality. I fully support the Planning Department's view that the proposal fails to meet the required standards for small-scale rural development, and this basically is not outweighed by the known benefits of a preschool.
It's on. Good afternoon, and thank you for allowing me to speak in support of Wild Beginnings. My name is Nikki Waller, and I work as a childminder's assistant in Crawley Down. I have dedicated my career to early years education for more than 20 years, managing and running local childcare settings. I have known Zara, the applicant, on a professional level for over 20 years. She is one of the most passionate people I have ever had the pleasure of working alongside. Zara holds an early years foundation degree and has worked for and with some of the biggest providers in the UK. Her vision for Wild Beginnings reflects her dedication and drive to create something truly special for our children and our families. Crawley Down urgently needs some early years provision. The existing preschool is oversubscribed, childminders are at full capacity, and local preschools only run term time 9 till 3. They do not offer the full daycare that Wild Beginnings will. Families are being forced to travel to larger towns for childcare or sadly give up work. With its flexible hours and full daycare, Wild Beginnings will enable parents to maintain employment, supporting their well-being while children flourish in a nurturing environment. The demand is already clear. 34 children are registered to join as soon as the setting is able to open. This shows just how much families need this facility. I have also personally met some wonderful local people, particularly grandparents, who have had to step in as full-time carers for their grandchildren. This is not always out of choice, but simply because there are no available childcare spaces to meet the needs of working parents in our area. These families cannot understand how such a desired and crucial provision is being overlooked. Our children deserve the best start, a place to grow, learn, make friends and feel ready for school with confidence and resilience. There is nothing more important than our children. They are the foundation of our future, and a village nursery ensures they grow up surrounded by love, care and a community that truly believes in them. I urge you to approve this fantastic community asset. Thank you.
When you're ready.
Chair and members of the committee. Is it on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Chair and members of the committee, my name is Andrew Metcalfe, a chartered town planner, father of 3 and resident of Crawley Down. As such, I have a particularly thorough understanding of the material considerations in this case. This application seeks a preschool which would provide high-quality early years childcare for 45 children aged 2 to 5 alongside 6 jobs in a sensitively designed building that respects its countryside setting. Despite a population of nearly 6,000 and recent approval for 350 new homes, Crawley Down has only 1 preschool with limited hours. Its long waiting list creates a confirmed childcare shortage, forcing parents to travel elsewhere where there is also limited availability or reduce their working hours. In policy terms, this scheme aligns with DP 14 and 25, supporting small-scale economic uses in the countryside that enhance local services without harming the rural environment. It also accords with neighbourhood planning policies 5 and 10, promoting community facilities and character. Crucially, NPPF paragraph 100 requires great weight to be given to creating early years places, and despite what your officer has said, the district plan does not do this. The scheme promotes sustainability through a West Sussex County Council agreed travel plan, encouraging low-impact transport like car sharing and electric vehicles. Its proximity to users will mean fewer cars on the roads and reduced emissions and congestion. The development maintains rural character,
30 seconds.
Incorporates biodiversity measures and enjoys overwhelming public support. 55 in favour versus just 10 objections. We note the claimed less than substantial harm to 2 listed buildings. Members should remember that this harm is not determinative. A balance is to be undertaken against the benefits. The benefits include, but are not limited to, access to early years learning, bolstering the local economy, enabling parental/carer employment, and fulfilling the settlement's role set out in the district plan. The benefits in this case clearly outweigh any concerns, and I urge you to approve this essential childcare facility in Crawley Down. Thank you.
Councillor Gibson, please. Now, for the benefit of the watching public on YouTube and members of the public in the gallery, Councillor Gibson is not timed. He doesn't have the 2 minutes, but he will not try the patience of the committee. And please stick to just this application site, not anywhere else in Crawley Down, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. I wouldn't want to test the patience of the committee. I'd follow on very neatly from Mr. Metcalfe's point there, that the main point that I want to bring to the committee is that I do not think that the public benefits of this scheme have been given sufficient weight when considering in the planning balance. I know the applicant through his previous membership of Turners Hill Parish Council, and he approached me last year to tell me that he was considering this, creating this enterprise. And I suggested to him that it would hinge upon the demonstration of a local need. And I said that in the context of other surveys which had been done, and particularly I would highlight the National Climbing Centre on farmland in the Rowfant Business Centre. That was approved by this committee, by this council, as was the 70-bed care home at the Duke's Head, currently under construction. And both of those were subject to surveys of local need in order to demonstrate that there was a need for the development. The direct economic benefits, I don't think the creation of 6 jobs has been mentioned, but clearly there's a wider economic benefit from supporting working families. And in some respects, it's regrettable that more than one income is needed to meet the high cost of living in today's world. But certainly, there is a need to ensure that that does not place constraints on the actual raising of children and the having of families and that. As we all know, there is a declining number of working age to retired in the population, and we must ensure that we remove barriers wherever possible and wherever the opportunities exist. And local preschool provision is a key example of that. I thought I'd just sort of say a little bit about other applications in the area, if the chairman will permit me.
No, we're talking about the this application.
The examples of applications outside the village boundary, which have gone through recently. Because I do feel that there's little evidence that the village boundary of Crawley Down is sacrosanct. Now, I accept all that's been said about the position and the difficulties of walking to this area, but it's clear to me that where developments have gone ahead in the recent past, such as the development of Palmer's Auto sites halfway down to the Duke's Head, it's been clear that that has been premised on the fact that all travel to and from that area would be by car. It was similar for the climbing centre at Rowfant, where the travel plan, including a minibus provided by the centre, was absolutely instrumental in convincing the committee. And I believe that the plans for a provision of transport to and from this preschool sit in a similar way and should be considered to be the same. The other things that I would just consider is the impact on heritage, because I noticed that, right, if you look at sort of paragraph 13.2, then the proposed preschool will not cause any significant harm to the amenities. It's acceptable in terms of highway safety, biodiversity, trees, flood risk and drainage. And so that really brings us back to the issue around sustainability in terms of the economic side, which I think I've already addressed, and then the other side of that, which is that whether or not there's any harm to the heritage assets. And what I do want to say, I'll just pick up on that as well, if I can, before I finish. The phrase there is that the public benefits of the proposal do not have to outweigh the harm to the setting of the listed buildings. But within that, you have to consider optimum viable use. Now, as you've heard, there's one other heavily overused facility, and Crawley Down has lost a facility that used to be at the Crawley Down Village Hall that met a lot of local need. There is no way forward on a replacement village hall at the current time. And the recent application on Huntsland offers no community buildings. So, to my mind, that means that this is the optimum viable option for this facility. And I would urge the committee to approve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gibson. Pretty good for you, if you know what I'm saying. Right, now I'm going to have to correct what Councillor Gibson said, because he did say something factually wrong. The care home was actually refused by this council, and they won that actual care home on appeal. So we didn't approve it, and they won it on appeal for the lack of, we needed it, basically. Now, we're going to have a debate now, and I'm going to go to the ward councillor, Councillor Hitchcock, and then I shall speak next because I'm adjacent to the ward. Councillor Hitchcock, can you press your... Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to say a little bit about some comments that I've seen on Facebook, which have been directed at both Ian and I. I would like to confirm that I am not an elected member of Worth Parish Council and have not attended any of their sessions where they have discussed this project. I can therefore not have affected their decisions. I've lived in Crawley Down for 43 years. I have been a scout leader for 28 years. I have been associated with the football club for more than 30 years, and I am married to the local GP. It's fair to say that I know a lot of people in Crawley Down, some of which I would consider to be friends, and some of which are just acquaintances. I have had correspondence, verbal correspondence, with the occupants of Allens at their request, and I have discussed this project with them. I have told them that there is a process to be gone through which associated with the district plan and what the likely elements are of that plan that need to be addressed. I also advised that they got professional advice, which they have done through Stannards. I do not consider myself to be predetermined on this application. What I would like to say, as a gesture to the gallery, is following the significant amount of traffic on Facebook, I will not be voting for this particular item, but I have requested from the chairman that I am able to speak, which he has agreed to. My principal questions on this from the very, very start, and it's a long way back, were, does this comply with policy on commercial development in the countryside? Will it affect the highway? And will it affect access for potential users? All the other considerations of noise and the setting of the site in the rural location, I have not discussed. I have left that to the officer to discuss that internally and to make a decision on it. I will be very brief. On the third iteration of this project, I was nearly on the point of being able to accept it. It had got to the stage where it had offered all the assets in terms of infrastructure for people to walk and cycle to the project site and a separate access for pedestrians and cyclists. The project was looking good at that stage, from my point of view. But you have come in with a further iteration, which has now put me in a position where I have to consider, is it proper to have this facility which does not offer access to the pedestrian or the cyclist? Because in the words of West Sussex County Council Highways, the use of the grass strip to access it is potentially dangerous. That is a key point for me, and I do not think that the travel plan, which does not offer those facilities, is a true travel plan. The travel plan that you have offered is a minibus and car sharing, and both of which are probably not enforceable in law or by condition. And I do not consider that after a period of operation, this facility would not reduce itself to having all its children delivered by personal car. So I'm in a position now where this project has reduced the availability of those school places to those who want to use the minibus or a private car. It's not available now because of the condition of the infrastructure to the pedestrian or the cyclist. I therefore have to totally agree with the officer. Thank you.
Vice Chairman, I'm the local ward councillor, which is adjacent to this site. And I will put my cards on the table. We have been let down, well, the officer's been let down, and I think that members have been let down by the highways here. I think that they should have been stronger in their comments, because taking away the footpath, so just because they've given an electric minibus, doesn't take away the safety side of it. And for me, it's the safety of the children along that road. As you heard from one of the speakers, just slightly up from the site towards Turners Hill is Wallage Lane. We had a fatality there. We've had minor accidents recently, 2 minor accidents recently, and they're documented actually in our district plan for this junction. I do think that the highways, and I think I'll probably write to Anne Biggs expressing my displeasure of the highways on this site, because I don't think they did a particularly good job on it. I, for one, would welcome a preschool in Crawley Down. 100%. Why would you not want another preschool in Crawley Down? I am lucky enough to live in my village. We've got a preschool in Crawley Down, in Bolcombe. Possibly, we may have another one opening up again, so we might have 2. We're being a bit greedy, I know. However, this is the wrong location for it. And for me, it's all about the location and the sustainability, because the speaker was quite eloquent, and I think that's Mr. Hurrell, quite rightly said, you can't, I've been down that site, and I've walked along that road with my fingers crossed that I wasn't going to get wiped out, unless there might be in a by-election. But I have real concerns about egressing and getting out of this site, and the fact that there's the grass verge there. Now, it's perfect when it's not wet, to a certain extent, and I still want to walk along it, but I did actually walk along it. But when it's wet, I can't see anybody walking along that, and nor would the Highways Authority suggest that's a good idea. The nearest bus stop is towards Crawley Down. It's a good 300 or 400 yards away. I'm looking at Catherine, she's nodding. Is it 200 or 300 yards away?
230 metres.
230 metres, so we've got that one right. Oh, that's not bad, 300. I can't see people delivering their children by walking on this site. We've had, all of us have been lobbied by members of the public who live in Crawley Down, but we've also had members of the public from the village that I represent as well, which is Turners Hill. And I don't know how they would be picked up to get into this site. I don't know. It's not for me to discuss that because I'm not the applicant. I just feel that this is the wrong location. I like the idea of a preschool. I like the idea of everything that was proposed in this one. It's a sustainable building. It's a sustainable for a preschool, but just not in this location. And that is the problem that I have. And I think I've spoken enough now, so I'm going to councillor. Actually, you've come above me, but actually Councillor DeBell was, he was before you.
I give way.
Councillor DeBell.
So do I just press my button?
No, don't touch it.
Oh, bless you, thank you. I totally agree with what's been said. There is absolutely no question that preschools are fantastic. And we do need preschools. I mean, the information is, as my daughter's a head teacher, that actually numbers are falling. But for preschool, they couldn't be better. They do need to have a preschool. And I think that in terms of actually what that preschool provides, there's absolutely no question it's absolutely fantastic. And my agreement with the chairman would be that preschools, fantastic, let's go for it and let's have some, but not here. It's far too dangerous. And, none of us want to hear of people losing their lives, especially children on the road. And this is a precarious position. So I would beg and urge that people rethink this. And yes, let's get a preschool somewhere where the kids can get to it and they can attend and be well looked after by fantastic teachers. Let's do it, but not here. It's too dangerous. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Brown. Councillor Henwood. Don't touch it. You're going to get red.
I have a couple of questions for the planning officer. You said that the proposed preschool playgroup building would be slightly higher than the previous swimming pool provision. How much higher? Is it just a single story or is it?
It's still the same form building, same position, and the original swimming pool building did have a mezzanine, so it's exactly the same size.
The same
building,
height?
Same height, same
I
position.
thought you said the elevation was slightly more, but that, I might have misheard that.
No.
Okay. The other question, please, could we see a picture of the car park? So 6 places. So you pull in,
There's more than 6 there. 12. It's 12.
12 places.
so why is it, we keep talking about 6 and now it's parking, 6 staff?
Half.
6 staff, so 6 for the privates. Okay, 6 for the private. So we had a discussion about the accessibility. Okay, that's what, yeah, and I think as has been stated before, if you live anywhere near a preschool playgroup, you know when the parents come all at once to drop off and the parents come all at once to collect. 45 children, I believe, was quoted. So that is a considerable amount. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman.
Any other member? Councillor Brown, when you get your red light.
Thank you, Chairman. I will restrict myself from not repeating stuff that other people have mentioned. But a couple of points that struck me were the travel plan. I felt that was really a bit of a boilerplated thing. It didn't really reflect a sustainable travel plan. Looking at the NPPF in particular, which I had a good look at home, section 9, promoting sustainable transport, and so I can see it's going to be fine getting there by car, and in fact, I'm not, but getting there by, the other way people take their children to preschool is with buggies and pushchairs, and that's not been mentioned. And there's no way you can do that at all with these. We keep calling it a footpath. I believe it's a footway at the side of the road, or the lack of. So that's one thing. Well, it's 2 things really, and the travel plan. I don't really see that working either. So if it was described the situation more clearly, then I am disappointed as well with the comments from Highways, and the Woolwich junction, the Woolwich B2028 junction is well known to the district council with our highways studies. And this junction's really quite close to it, on the same side of the road. So I can see that causing a problem as well. So I tend to agree. I think it's the right thing, but it's in the wrong place. Thank you.
I think it's the grass verge you were after. That's the word you were looking for. It's a grass verge. Councillor Kenny.
Yeah, first of all, a couple of observations. I thought that the analysis in the report seemed to me to be quite heavy-handed in its objections. I've had a careful look around the site, walked up the road. I don't think there's any real danger to those heritage assets. They're quite some distance in terms of, and to describe the area as rural, it's kind of interesting. Along that road, if you look south of there are houses. It's a residential. There are houses along the road, yes, not very far away, if you're going south down that road. And of course, there is a business at Grange Farm that is entirely car-based. And whilst I really would not want to play fast and loose with children's safety, what I haven't heard around the table is whether or not this business is viable with the minibus and with car access. Because the need is huge. The need is absolutely huge. And I would be very strongly minded to do that. I think that the owners and operators will bear a very, very heavy responsibility if it were to go forward to make sure that all of the arrangements are safe. They could stagger entries, they could work with parents on that. But there is an absolutely critical need for this kind of provision. And I tend to agree that in all of the analysis that we've had here, we've had certain factors raised quite heavily, like damage to heritage assets or changing the rural character, which I don't think it would at all. That hedge is not likely to disappear anytime soon. It won't really be visible from the road. The issue really is the safety. And I think that in relation to the need that's there, that's something that it would be everybody's responsibility to manage. And if this could survive as a car and minibus-based provision, which I think it could, because if my impression of the area, I drove around it as well as walking around it, my impression is that the area is heavily dependent on car-based access for almost all facilities. That was the impression I had. So those are my comments. I think it's incredibly difficult. It's a shame that we have such stark choices to make. Like everyone else, I'm kind of perplexed at West Sussex County Council traffic. Okay.
As of the ward councillor, I should just have to correct you just a tad, if you don't mind me. When you come out of Woolwich Lane, yes, on the eastern side there are houses. But if you look to the western side, whacking great fields.
No, directly south along the D2, whatever it is, there are residential homes.
Only on the eastern side. Only on the eastern side until you get into the boundaries of Turners Hill. I've got nobody else to speak. I'm going to read out the recommendations unless... Councillor Kinsella.
Personally, I know that road very well. I know how fast traffic goes up and down that road every day, and the heavy lorries. In fact, coming down here today, we were stuck behind a Cox's skip lorry, blocking up half the road. So it is a heavily congested, busy road. I fully support the need for childcare and nurseries in Crawley Down. They are very, very limited, as we are in Copthorne. But it's in the wrong place. That road is just too dangerous to have 40-odd cars coming in and out of it on a congested time. My personal view would be talk to Waits. You're having a new development put in, get them to build you a new nursery in there next door to the care home, where it's now proven that having young children and old people together is a good combination for both. And I'd be looking at that as a site for a proper purpose-built nursery, rather than here where it's too dangerous.
Yeah. For those who've ever read the district plan, and I'd like to think you all have, that junction at the Turners Hill Crossroads and the B2028, if I got that one right, is one of the busiest roads in the district. Because we get most of East Sussex come through that junction and down that road at certain times of the day. I don't know the hours of operation. Some start at 7 o'clock in the morning and finish at 7 in the evening and whatever, but it is a very busy road. I'm going to read out the recommendations for refusal because that is the officer's recommendation. Have I got a proposer for... Yes, you'll disappear. Yeah, well, you're going to go outside? Okay, don't hurt your back. Have I got a proposer? That's Councillor Swetman. Have I got a seconder to refuse? Councillor Bashir. Right, the reasons for refusal. Refusal 1 is the proposal by virtue of its position, design, scale would fail to maintain the quality of rural and landscape character of the countryside and is therefore contrary to policies DP12 and DP26 of the Mid-Sussex District Plan and the relevant provisions of the NPPF. Second refusal is due to the site's location within the countryside and the rural nature of Turners Hill Road, the proposal will be inaccessible by walking, cycling or public transport and therefore will be a heavy reliance on the use of motor vehicles. The proposal is therefore considered to fail to amount to a sustainable small-scale economic development in the countryside policies DP 1421 of the Mid-Sussex District Council and CDNP 10 of Crawley Downs Neighbourhood Plan and the relevant provisions of the NPPF. And item 3 through refusal is the proposal, virtue of its design, form, scale would detract from the rural character of the area and the positive contribution it makes to the setting of the nearby listed buildings. This harm is considered to fall into the less than substantial category, so it's the lower category, as defined in the NPPF. It is considered that the less than substantial harm to the setting of the heritage asset would not be outweighed by the public benefits of the proposal. The proposal therefore conflicts with DP 34, the Mid-Sussex District Plan and the relevant provisions of NPPF. I have a proposal and I have...
Could we add a rider to that? Because I think the overriding feeling is the danger to children. I think that would it be possible to add some sort of a rider to that? Because I think that from what everybody's saying in the committee, that is clearly the major issue.
I'm looking to my... Joe?
Thank you, Chairman. The Highways Authority have not raised a highway safety issue, so I don't think we could substantiate that, I'm afraid. It is only about the sustainable location.
Okay. But that's not to say that I won't ask
No, that's my primary
if
feeling,
the
Andrew.
committee want me to, after we've done this, for me to ask head of planning to write to Highways that we're a bit disappointed on this because I think they hung the officer out to dry on this one.
That's the overriding thing.
Yeah. So we've got a proposal, we've got a seconder, and now can we go to the vote? It's green if you agree with the officer's recommendation, red if you don't, and yellow if you are going to abstain. Right. Everybody's voted. I've got 9 in favour of to the officer's recommendation, so that's to refuse it. I've got 1 against the officer's recommendation and 1 abstaining. So this has been refused. Thank you. Now, you're going to get Councillor Hitchcock in. Thank you very much. We'll go through the rest of the agenda. Item 9 is questions pursuant to Council Rule Procedure 10.2 due notice of which has been given. I have none. Before I close the meeting, is it the committee's wish for me to... Is the request that we get Anne to write to West Sussex County Highways, because I think in this case they have let down the... Yeah. Cheers. Thank you, Anne. Right. Therefore, do you want to say anything else? No. Therefore, we're going to close the meeting according to that clock up there, 1 minute to 5. Thank you for your attendance. Please sit until we get the killed.
Meeting is now ended.
Thank you very much.